Testing. Test.
I think so. Perfect. We are ready to get this going.
No, we're not, because we
No.
don't have Error's microphone. He's not broadcasting his mic.
Isn't he in the Skype?
Yeah, but he's broadcasting the Skype audio, so his own audio doesn't get mixed in with that. He has to stream his microphone in addition to the Skype.
Right. People are doing things at 2, 3, 4 in the morning.
That's what I'm gonna blame this on. Also, every time I die, that's what I'm blaming it on, too. Alright, so here's another audio test. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4.
And here's me talking. Hello.
Hello, hello.
Okay, we're good to go? Yes, no, maybe?
It's close enough. The game audio is kind of quiet, but I don't want to mess with this anymore. We should keep moving.
Alright. So timer ready?
Just a moment. All right, you're good to go.
Alright.
Wait, before you go, you need to turn off your Skype notifications so you can set yourself to do not disturb, and that'll do it.
Done. Alright.
All right, let me know when you're going.
In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. So, welcome to Ghosts and Goblins.
I don't like it here.
I don't like it here either. Anyway, this is the NES port of the Capcom arcade game Ghosts and Goblins. I start from a hard reset to set the RNG at the same starting position, so I know where all of the enemies are going to spawn at the beginning. Otherwise, not much to say about level 1. RNG, as far as I can tell, only increments when randomly spawning enemies spawn in. Which is kind of odd because none of the enemy movements are affected by RNG. So, I'm doing a lot of attacking while jumping, because when you stand on the ground, when you shoot on the ground, you stop all of your momentum. First boss was the unicorn. I know it looked like a unicorn. Had a nice little horn coming out of his head. Takes 8 hits to kill with every weapon but the shield, which he's immune to. Goes down pretty easy in level 1. Everyone gets by level 1. Level 2 rips the souls out of everyone who tries to play this game casually. Coming up is the infamous house, full of big men. Take 10 hits to kill, along with respawning birds all over the place. Either you kind of get caught up between a rock and a hard place trying to decide, okay, do I kill the bird or do I kill the big guy? And then usually just die. I'm going to set up the one major macro level skip in the game by damage boosting up, using that bird on top of the house so I can skip the rest of the house. The platforms here only move when they're on screen, so I'm going to try and manipulate this platform to the bottom so I can easily get back on it. Don't have to wait on the second one. Boss at stage 2, it's 2 unicorns. A little bit more difficult than the first stage because the first one will jump over you and try and pinch you on the other one, but if you can keep your distance, you'll be alright. This is upcoming as stage 3. Starts off with a kind of a nasty surprise. Bats from above, zombies below. Luckily you can duck all of the bats and then kill the zombies, but the bats can still block your shot. Get caught by a zombie. These towers take 4 hits to kill, but you can only hurt them when they're colored red and getting ready to shoot. Second part of the level has no random enemies, so there's no random drops, so whatever weapon you enter the blue section with is the one you're stuck with. Except at the end where there's a torch drop. Red Armors, they're the most iconic enemy in Ghosts and Goblins. Probably most random enemy too. You can kind of manipulate them, but they're kind of a pain. I got lucky there, I kind of missed a quick kill on that, but luckily it didn't swoop into my hitbox. So I'm forced to pick up the torch here, since I had the lance. The boss of this level is a dragon, but the dragon happens to be immune to the lance for some reason. So if you go into this blue section of level 3 with the lance, you have to pick up the torch. Level 4 is kind of a breather level. Getting to the stage is just a little bit of platforming. There's no enemies. Platforms move in the same manner every time, so just kind of follow the quickest pattern and don't fall. If you do fall, it's much quicker to die than to try and climb back up. With infinite continues, that's not much of a problem. Second part is a bridge over lava. Most of the imps here will spawn behind you, so you can effectively ignore them. If I pick up that statue, it turns me into a frog. Don't want that to happen, because it's slow. I'm gonna try and be risky on the dragon here. And I got lucky. Kinda lucky. It's all quiet, you guys are mesmerized.
My jaw is just on the floor. That's what's happening right now.
So level 5 is the first level that doesn't have a checkpoint. If I die, I start at the very beginning of the stage. Full of ladders. Ladders are the worst enemy in Ghosts and Goblins. It's very easy to get stuck on them, and you cannot attack while you're on a ladder. This axe in level 5 It's the only weapon drop in level 5 that's not random, but the boss is immune to it, so if you pick it up, you're in a lot of trouble. Basically, you would spend the next, like, 2 minutes at the bottom of the stage farming burritos, trying to get another weapon, so you could finish the stage. These big men, if you're below them, they try and, I guess, for lack of a better term, poop on you. You can force them to change direction by walking under them and then walking away. Well, maybe not change direction, but make them think about changing direction. You have about a 50-50 shot of going left or right, but if they're camping a ladder, it's kind of a pain, but you can force them away. That was the boss, Satan. Takes 8 hits to kill with any non-axe weapon. Pretty easy in loop 1. This is level 6, most difficult stage in the game. I'm going to try and do a few damage boosts here, which I totally screwed up. Yay! The intention was to damage boost off that fireball into the platform above, and totally skip going the long way. But I jumped too early. Yeah, it's better. Sort of a boss rush at the beginning of stage 6. The weapon I just picked up is the shield. In the Japanese version, it's a cross. This weapon is required to beat the game. If you beat the stage without this weapon, you get sent back to stage 5. Which sucks. So I'm going to try and skip this entire level above. The Aramers are kind of interesting in that if you don't attack them, they start dancing around for like 15 seconds. And they generally follow you around, but they don't follow you vertically. I'm probably dead here. Ugh. That boss strat I tried to do, basically you end up in the corner and you just mow them down because the shield blocks projectiles. But about once out of every 20 times you do the boss, the second boss will swoop low, forcing you to duck to avoid getting hit. And if that happens, it's really hard to make it into the corner in time. So I got a bit unlucky there. I could have probably salvaged it, I just didn't get turned around in time. But we'll give it another go, because it doesn't happen very often that they do that. That's stage 6. We're on the final boss. This is Astaroth, or Lucifer. Gotta hit him in his, beard to actually do damage. Pretty easy. And we almost beat the game. Because you don't get a true ending after beating the game once. Tells you it's an illusion. Go do it again. So now we're on loop 2. Loop 2 is harder than Loop 1. Most enemies are faster. Places with randomly spawning enemies spawn more often. Projectiles go faster. Arrows fire twice. This is kind of a big pain. Got greedy and got hit from the bird. But made it through. There's really not that many differences between Loop 1 and Loop 2. None of the enemies take more hits to kill. It is definitely harder though. Bad spot. Don't want the lance. Dagger is straight up better. Dagger you can fire 3 times. You can have 3 shots on screen at a time. Lance you can only have 2. There's also no bosses immune to it. Also, I could not beat level 1 with the shield I started with. As I said earlier, the boss is immune to it. So you have to get a weapon at some point. Level 2 is quite a bit more difficult in Loop 2. Just because with the birds spawning more often and being faster, it's really easy to take a hit in the house when you're dealing with the ogres. Still, it's a lot faster and actually a lot safer. Go ahead and do the damage boost again, which I totally missed. I'm having to jump here in the corner because I need the bird to spawn high. If he spawns too low, you won't get enough height on the damage boost.
Raykaza, if you could go ahead and mute your microphone, that'd be great.
Luckily, platforms are one of the few things that don't get faster in Loop 2. Well, I guess it does make this section slower than it would need to be. These guys are quite a bit easier with the dagger than the lance. Really hard with the torch. There's a bit of a bug where the first boss can jump early and it just totally cramps your day. Really not much to say about level 3 in Loop 2. Everything's faster, but it's not too much more difficult. Well, air armors are always more difficult in Loop 2 because they shoot twice. But not too much of a problem. And as much fun as it would be to shoot at this airman on the way down, it's a bad idea if you do so, because he will chase you all the way down if you do so. Oh. So you want this torch? The dragon's not immune to the dagger, but he's actually easier to kill with the torch because the torch actually arcs up a little bit before it arcs down. So it's easier to hit him when he's passing overhead. Level 4 is pretty much as easy as it was in Loop 1. The imps being faster actually makes it probably a little bit easier to do the level just a hair faster. Just because you don't have to wait on them to come up in firing range. I'm trying to pre-fire my torch in a couple spots to catch the imps as they're coming up. And it was a troll pattern that I somehow didn't get hit on. I'll take it. Most of the time when the dragon gives you that pattern, you're just going to take a hit. Bad things happen. There's actually a safe strat for a level 4 dragon, because if you let him wake up on his own, you don't hit him early. You get the same pattern every time, and it's with the torch, it's basically 100% safe. Also, burritos! Really nothing I could do about that, because you're completely vulnerable while climbing a ladder. So I haven't talked about the torch much. The torch, like most other weapons, you can have 2 shots on screen at a time. But if you miss and it hits the ground, it flares up. And that still counts as one of your shots. So, when fighting things like these ogres that I'm trying to stun lock, if I miss, he's going to basically kill me. Satans are about the same in Loop 2. Loop 3 they get much harder. But Loop 2, still pretty easy. We'll try the same damage boost as last time. Probably better to just jump over the fireballs and let him charge me than jump too early and die like I did in Loop 1. So the damage boost I did in Loop 1, you can still do it in Loop 2, but it's quite a bit more dangerous. So I'm going to try it once, and then if I don't get it, I'll just go ahead and kill the enemies on this level normally. And made it through. Same strat works in Loop 2. Most of the time. There's a nice little glitch I could do here, but it would waste 5 minutes. Basically, if you grab the key and go down the ladder, the game autopilots you to the right, but if you go down to the level below, Arthur misses the door, and it takes 5 minutes for him to find it. And that's time. So I didn't give me any warning.
All right, so it was probably about 22:15.
That sounds about right. I wasn't
Nice.
thinking. It was
Good
just
job.
kind of like, hey, this is the final boss. He's the same as he was in Loop 1. He doesn't get any harder.
Yeah, it's not a climax, is it?
No.
It just kind of peters out. But the run is so hard, like all the way throughout, that it can go wrong at kind of any point.
I mean, there's other stuff that I wanted to explain. It's like, oh, this is what the boss did. Oh, wait, he's already dead. It actually is a pretty hard game. Controls are pretty wonky. I didn't even go into, like, how badly you get screwed if you're, like, ducking. I see in the chat, what's the record? The record is 19 minutes and 59 seconds by me. On my manual splits, I have 22 minutes, basically exactly, because it has a 16-second lead-in. I usually don't count when timing. But